Alright, let's get started. I didn't have any kind of a primer or anything for you guys this time, so we are good to go. Alright, where we left off, you guys were kind of at the foot of these stairs. That invisible creature that Peter can see, or could see clearly before you ran through the wall. Nivara could see just the kind of glowing outline of the silhouette. Essentially, this creature ran through the wall as something yelled out through the house, that it boomed out through the house. And you guys, I think it was right there that we left off, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, get out of my house, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I just showed you guys the map. And we are all set. Alright, you guys are at the base of the stairs there. That lead, well, you know, you were at the foot of it, basically, just starting to kind of climb the stairs. What are you guys doing?
Were we going upstairs, or I can't remember.
You were standing at the base of the stairs going up, yes.
Okay, before that guy came around.
Yeah.
So if you want to, we can still go that way.
Yeah.
Okay. You step up the steps, or begin your way up the steps, and as you're making it to the top of the stairs, you're looking out at another foyer, and it looks like a room, kind of a big wide room that's looking out of a front door. The front door is open. There are two halves of the, two sides of it is a double door, basically, and you're looking out through that. Outside of that, it is more gray, swirling mist. As soon as you've made it to the top of the steps and look around, you realize that you are right here. Looking around the room, you look over to the left wall, and that etching that Peter had noticed in the wall is still there. You've walked up those stairs, and as soon as you reach the top, you were just at the top of the stairs that led down, looking out the front doors that you just came through.
There was a door on the right, though, wasn't there?
There is... here, I'll draw arrows for you guys. There's a fireplace right there. There's a door right there. You guys can actually see these on the map, and then there's a door directly over Ketis' shoulder to his right. Whoops. There's another door right there. I'll delete the fireplace one. I just wanted, because at first it looked like a door, but it's not.
Which one do you guys want to try?
Want to check that door next to Ketis?
Sure.
Cool.
Alright. Let me get mask mode on here. There we go. Alright. So you reach over, you grab the doorknob for it. It turns. It doesn't feel like it's locked or anything. And open it. It looks like there's a short hallway that goes straight ahead, with another door at the end of it. A very, very narrow hallway. And it goes off around the corner to the right as well.
Keep going. See if we can get to that door.
Alright. You're going to the end of the hallway to that door? The one straight ahead?
What do you guys think? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. Alright. Similarly, you grab the doorknob for this, and as soon as you turn the doorknob and slide it open, the space behind it is pitch black. You can't see anything behind it. And it just, there's light would reveal it. It seems like there doesn't appear to be enough light in there, too. Maybe the darkness is really dense. There's no windows, apparently. Or if there are, maybe they're covered. But as soon as you've opened the door enough to start to go through it, you see a black claw reach through the door and push you back. Like you immediately are pushed back. Roll a strength save. You're pushed back, not far, just enough to clear the door, and then the hand reaches back behind the door and slams it shut.
Can I throw up some magic lights or some dancing lights around us just so we can keep some brightness?
Sure. Are you moving? Because there isn't a ton of room. There's room for one more standing behind Ketis, but, you know, basically you guys could fill the hallway wherever you're going. Becky, would you do me a favor and try to move your token? Does it let you move it or no?
Nope.
Weird. Alright, it's not locked. I don't know why it's not letting you guys move other tokens. You can move yourself, of course, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll keep her moving along with you guys. But yeah, so you send, you know, I guess one over each of you. Where you put them?
I guess I'll jump in with Ketis and push the magic lights, the dancing lights around us, so that way we can...
Okay. You can get them to the door. They won't go through it. But you basically, you know, can kind of fill that hallway with bright light. What else are you guys doing?
Anyway, we could throw Toki down that hallway.
To go around the corner, sure. Let me grab him and I'll put him on the tracker for us. Guinea pig cat. Oh, his token. It's fine. They did a T token for now. It doesn't matter. Actually, no. His tokens should still be in here. I thought. No, it is not. Huh, I don't remember deleting it. All right. Well, he is a T. Make him smaller. All right. You're just having him peek around the corner.
Yeah, he'll just act as our reconnaissance, just to look around.
Sure. All right. Well, peeking around the corner, there's another door at the end of the hallway on the left, and then it kind of comes up a little bit, and the hallway continues down where it opens into another space on the left that he can't quite see, and that's about as far as the light will go around that corner. As far as he's able to see, anyway.
You guys want to run for it?
Sure.
All right. I'm down. Who wants to take point?
I don't care. What do you guys want? I can go first. I don't mind. See if I can run into something and get myself killed again.
I'll follow behind you.
Let's try this one, Sako. That's really purple, but that's fine. It'll work. You should be able to see scroll bars now, though.
Yep, I see it.
That work? Okay. Alright, what are you guys doing? You're not trying that door, you're going down the hallway where Toki is?
Yeah, Ketis is going to take point. He's going to go down that hall. I'll follow right behind him with the dancing lights illuminating.
Sure.
Cool.
Go ahead and move yourself, G, so I know where you're at.
No, up.
That's Toki.
Try not to squish him, Toki. Yeah, I don't want to squish him. So.
Okay. Are you, well, are you going to
Can I
him,
stand?
Or are you going?
Yeah, I'll go past him.
Yeah, he's small. He can be the same one as you.
Okay, then yeah, I'll just kind of stand over him or next to him and look down and see what I see.
Okay.
You go ahead and step on him. He's just a stupid cat.
He's already died once, I guess.
He's probably died a few times by now. You guys tried to use him for remember when you were trying to scout the forest with him and he kept dying and then coming back? Or were you teleporting to him or something? I forget.
When we're burning that forest.
Yeah, when
I
you're
can't
like
remember.
kind of doing the brush fires. Alright, so there's a door right next to you where you're standing at the to your, well, where the token is, to the left of the token. That's one of the downsides of these. Like Asako for the other campaign, and when we get to Rosenthorn again, we'll be using top-down tokens for that too. But basically, it's a lot easier to figure out, you know, use your token to tell me which way you're facing, that kind of stuff. A little more immersive too. Anyways, so looking down that hallway, you with a dancing light over your head, you can actually see down to the end of this. It looks like it opens into another. Basically, on the left, it opens into a little wider hallway, and on the right, it looks like it opens into a wider hallway. And then there's a door right behind you, basically.
You guys want to split up a little bit, or you just want to stick together?
go in twos, I guess.
That works.
Okay.
All right. I'll go right, and then whoever wants to come with me, come with me.
Well, move yourself so I know what you're talking about. This map is a little bit labyrinthine, a little bit complicated, just so I know what you're talking about. All right. So peeking around the corner, you can see that there is another, basically the kind of an end of a hallway here. It looks like, and it opens into that kind of that wider area with a door right there around the corner from you.
Guess I'll go with Peter. Yours can go with Ketis.
Okay.
All right. I take it that's a door right there, huh?
Yeah, there's a door right around the corner from you. The wall just north of you.
I'm gonna kind of whip around and just look through a keyhole or see if I can hear something or see light movement underneath the crack.
Okay. Make a I guess we'll go perception on this because you're not like looking through. You're looking through a keyhole or listening, stuff like that. So we'll go perception. There's no sound coming from the other side. There's the kind of surrounding. What's what I'm looking for? Kind of sound bed almost of what sounds almost like water. But that's everywhere. That's been since you came into this plane. Is what you've heard is just that constant sound of like almost like being near a river. But it's perpetually there. It's no louder behind that door than anywhere else. But as you're listening at the door, there is. You're kind of ear up close to it and you're trying to peek through the eye hole and so on. There is a booming sound that echoes through the whole house, and it says,
"At the bottom of the ocean, the light must die."
And it booms through the house the same way the get out of my house thing did. Not coming from behind that door or anything, it's just... in fact, actually, all of you make a wisdom save.
Oh, no.
What was the... Oh, Keys rolled twice. Okay. Peter and Ivar, you both take 9 psychic damage. Oh, your spider climb is still up, but you succeeded on the concentration check. How long does spider climb last? I'm sure it's a while, because you only cast it just to climb up the wall, so probably be on for... What level of spider climb, do you remember?
I thought it was 4. Let me see.
I found it. Looks like it's 2. Up to an hour. So you're not there yet, but you probably have half an hour left on it. What's Ketis doing?
Let's see. Well, I'm going to ask Yorth what she thinks if we should try that door or go past them down the other hallway.
She shrugs and she says, "Fuck if I know. This door seems as good as any."
Alright, we'll try it then. I'll try to listen in on it, see if I hear anything.
Okay, you're gonna listen at the door. All right.
Yeah.
Listening at it, you hear scraping sounds coming from the other side of the door. There's something moving in there. You don't necessarily know if it's alive or not, but there's something moving on the other side of this door. Make a perception check. Like, it's loud enough that anybody that's standing there would have heard, but go ahead and make a perception check. You can faintly hear singing. That roll's not high enough to give you too much detail. You can hear very faint, very distant singing.
Ring around the roses.
God damn it, that's too loud.
A
But that's fine.
pocket full of posies. Ashes, ashes. we all fall down. We
You hear that. I would say with that roll it's fine. I mean, you rolled a 16 total. It's fine you're able to kind of pick up the details, but you basically hear the scraping that was there even from the other door. It wasn't super loud, but now that you're like listening for it, that's what you hear. And then hear singing in there.
And the singing actually was in a child's voice? Or was that just the audio?
Well, that's the details you wouldn't have been able to pick up, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. Then I am going to look at Yorith and say, nod our heads this way and come over closer so they can hear us and say, sounds like there's something alive or at least moving and singing and that behind that door over there. Tell the team. Peter and...
I would also note that since you picked up the detail of it sounding like a child's voice, the hand that appeared, the kind of clawed hand that appeared and closed the door in front of you on the other door was up high. It wasn't like child height. It was like an adult size, and it was up at a normal adult height.
Okay.
I would say Ketis probably would have tried to put those two together, but yeah, that it didn't look like a kid's hand at all.
Guessing that the claw scraping sound is the same claw that pushed you. That's what he was gathering.
I wouldn't say you could go that far necessarily. I mean, the claw didn't look bestial. You didn't get a good look at it. There wasn't enough light there at the time. But, I mean, maybe you could, assume that could be the case. I don't know. You don't have any way of putting those details together.
Guess I'm just going to tell Peter and Navarra that I heard some scraping and it sounded like a child singing behind that door, so whether or not you guys want to go in there, I don't know, but if we are, we got to be ready first.
Alright, unknown if this door and that door are connected to a room in there, so you want me to throw Toki in there for...
Kids like cats, so...
that's what I'm thinking. If it's kid, we're going to hear her say kitty. If it's not, then Toki dies. Either way, it's a win-win.
Either way, it's a win-win. Keep in mind, though, Toki to resummon is an hour, so if he gets smushed... I think it's an hour. Is it 10 minutes?
I think it's an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, guys?
Toki's
not that important.
Yeah, exactly. He's absolutely disposable, but how long till you get him back is the question.
He doesn't think so, but that's fine. That's fine with me if you guys want to do that.
All right, Toki, we're going on an adventure.
So where you
so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna kneel down at the door I'm at, slowly push it open, and then scoot Toki in and see through his eyes what's going on inside that room.
Okay.
And with the door cracked open, send a ball of light with Toki just so he has some...
Okay. You turn the doorknob for this and open it up, and with the light kind of passing through, you're kind of in this transition phase of kind of adapting to his vision. You send it in. The room is disheveled and destroyed. It does not connect back as far as you can tell. Immediately you can see that there's a far wall. Go ahead and move Toki here. I'll put you back. I was just setting Toki inside. The room is pretty badly destroyed. There is a shelf on the far wall with a bunch of very old ceramic jars that many of them have broken. There's a broken chair and another chair that is still mostly intact. There are two windows that look out into the same gray swirling mist.
Alright, no entities inside. I guess I'll move inside and just take a quick look around to see if I can find any information about the place.
Okay.
Specifically looking for any type of paperwork or books or some type of research or something.
Sure. You step in. Now that you're kind of up high and able to get a better angle of the room, it looks like it's not a broken chair; it was a broken table. There is still a chair there, but it's a bunch of broken wood, basically. There's no documents or paperwork of any kind or books or anything that you can see in here. Whoever's... I guess Sako doesn't have dogs, so that bark or whatever that sound was, Harold actually heard it even though I'm wearing a headset, and he kind of looked at me funny. Anyway, looking around in there, though, it doesn't look like anything of the style that you're looking for in here. You can go ahead and make an investigation check, though. You go through the remaining jars that are still sitting there, the kind of ceramic containers that are still on the shelf there, and pull them off. And at first, when you pull it off, it feels like water. It feels like there's a liquid, like a relatively thin viscosity liquid. When you pull them off, it kind of shakes inside of it with the weight adjustments. But you pull it off and look in, and it looks like black sand almost that is sloshing around inside of it. No documents or anything, but that's what appears to be in all of these jars that you've checked. Oddly enough, that when you look down at the floor where the broken ones are, there's no sign of anything of this material. Just the ones that are intact.
Can I sense if there's anything arcane about that black sand?
Make an Arcana check.
I'm just gonna move down here and kind of keep an eye on that hallway.
Okay. It doesn't appear to be. There is a kind of constant glow around everything here, same as you had felt when you guys were checking outside at the front door. But there isn't any extra from the sand itself. I'm putting a little extra, by the way, Becky. Anything that's a door, just to make it a little easier for you guys to see. I'm kind of revealing a little bit on the other side of the door, basically, just to show you where the doors are. Can you guys see that? Does that make sense?
Yes, just so you can recognize.
Yeah, exactly. Just so you can tell that there's a door there. So yeah, there's 3 doors here. There's one at the very end for what Navarro's seeing. There's one at the end, and then one on either side.
All right, I'm good for this room. So whatever you guys want.
You guys want to check out the one with the kid in it, or check out the other doors?
Want to go check out this one?
Alright.
When you've come back to the end there and are trying to kind of listen more to it, I'm not sure if this is gonna work. We'll try, but the song is kind of it sounds like it was singing it still, like it just continually singing it, but.
Posy, a pocket full of posies.
Did that sound altered at all, or no? Was it still just the regular, like the same one?
There's a little sound behind it, but that wasn't really much. It didn't change the voice.
But it sounds deeper and certainly more. I don't have a good word to describe, but basically it didn't sound as young and childish anymore. But the song,
you guys want to go in and
kind of, it sounds like the scraping is still there, but that sounds like it's coming from further away than the singing. The singing sounds closer right now.
Maybe we should just look at the other rooms first and come back to that one, because we got jars with black sand, one of them fallen, no black sand. We might be dealing with the sand creature, some freak.
While you guys are kind of debating this and quiet, I assume all of this conversation, by the way, is happening quietly, so it doesn't necessarily have to be full whispers, but in this I would assume your characters would probably be being quiet, but you let me know if that's not the case, or if there's any alteration of that. But as you guys are kind of deciding what to do, there throughout the house is another booming echo that says,
"There is no sharp distinction between the real and the unreal."
Make wisdom saves, all 3 of you. You feel, especially since all 3 of you kind of, well, 2 of you felt it previously. You were kind of, for Navarre and Peter, you were a little bit prepared for it this time. Yorth was not, so she takes 6 psychic damage. But the booming echo, as every time that this has gone off, including the first time when you guys heard it in the foyer, in the kind of opening room, it feels like it's trying to get into your mind. It's like if you're brain had a locked door, it's trying to pick the lock. And each time it succeeds, it would be potentially more successful. And that could have, more disastrous results as it goes on. But all three of you are able to kind of fend it off this time, but you feel physically like something is trying to get into your brain.
You guys just want to go to the right and start door kicking?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. What are you doing? Yorth is trying to keep
I'm going to
close
do
by
the
that door.
same.
Listening at the door?
I'm going to do the same thing to this door. I'm going to do the same thing, just kind of listen and look, and then if it's clear, send Toki in.
Okay, make a perception check. Okay. You don't hear any sound coming from that door. Nothing from the other side. Again, there's still the kind of ambient sound of water all over the place.
Alright, same thing as before. Push the door open slowly, quietly, and send Toki through. See what he gets
Okay.
with the dancing orb.
Sure. This looks like, as soon as he's even in, you can see it looks like it's a storage room. There's some barrels on the side. That's pretty much it. There's no windows. Doesn't appear that there's, any light coming from outside at all.
Alright, just generally search, look around in the barrel, see if there's anything of interest. If not, then I'll just...
Sure. Make an investigation check. The barrels are filled to the brim, all of them, with that same kind of liquid sand.
Alright, we got a running theme going here. Alright, I'm good for this
I
room,
would
guys.
say make a flat intelligence check on Peter. There's something vaguely familiar about that kind of liquidy black sand. There are flecks of color in it too, some red, some green, some blues, things like that. Like basically, when the light reflects, almost like glitter a little bit. When the light reflects off of the bits of sand, it seems to have a color. But the kind of overall color of it is a very inky black. Seems to kind of absorb the light a little bit. But there's still something familiar. You didn't roll high enough to give me, enough detail, but basically there's something familiar about the sand.
Alright, I'll think about that.
What are you doing?
Can I hear anything from the door that I'm standing in front of?
Make a perception check. From the door, it sounds like a fireplace. You can hear like the kind of very calming, relaxing, popping sounds of like a low burning fireplace.
Alright. I guess just try to quietly open the door and peek around the corner.
Okay. There's enough. Peter's left enough dancing orbs with you guys to dancing lights in there to be able to see the room. You open it carefully and peek your head in. Looking around, there's a few beds. There's a shelf. Looks like there's some stairs and a bookshelf. But that's about it. There's actually two windows that also look out into the kind of swirling gray outside. There is no fireplace. Sorry, in the middle of the room, so that's the beds and everything are all there. In the middle of the room, let me get these all revealed for you. You see some pedestals. There's from this angle at first you probably didn't count them initially, but there are 6 total pedestals, and sitting on top of them, they're not, they're very small, basically the size of like the top of each of these pedestals that stand about waist high are 6 like cereal bowl shaped braziers. They're not lit or anything. They're just sitting there.
Okay. When I walk in the room, can I see up the stairs?
Yeah, go ahead. Looking up the stairs, you can't quite see all the way to the landing, but the angle from this angle when you look up looks just like it did when you went up the other stairs and ended up back in the main entrance. You're looking at the roof of the foyer, is what it looks like.
Okay. And there's no other doors in
Or
here?
the ceiling, rather. There is, actually, in the bottom right corner.
Is there anything in the braziers?
A small amount of black sand in each one.
And
there are there's things scratched all over the walls, like small phrases and things like that. Make another wisdom save, all of you. There's another booming through the house that in a very morose tone says,
Even death may die.
Geez, you guys have really good rolls now. Same feeling of something trying to kind of pry its way into your minds, but you guys all resist. Let's see if Yorth does. No, that was a check. There we go. There we go. She also kind of resists and holds it off. She steps her way in there to kind of look around in this room with you, looking up the stairs. She says, "This is some weird shit, isn't it?"
It's a little creepy.
As the two of you are in there, and that kind of sound went off, we'll get to Ketis here in just a second. The door closes. The door you came through closes.
Can I open it? Like, is it open?
The door that you're standing in front of, or okay, you go back to the door that you came through. It feels like it's locked. Most of the doors in here are very old, and the style of the door does have a very visible keyhole. You probably peek through that. You see Kita standing on the side.
If I call out to him, can he hear me?
I was going to say, well, Ketis make a perception check, but yeah, no, he can hear you fine. You guys can hear each other fine.
Ask him if he can come open the door.
I probably would have noticed the door slamming anyway. I wondered, so I'll head up that way.
Sure. You grab the door, and when Navarre, when you first opened the door, it opened in. Ketis, you grab the door and would expect it to open in because that's usually how these places are designed, how house is usually designed. But you go to push it in, and it's hitting a door jam. Like it doesn't open in anymore. So you try to pull it to open it towards you instead, and it opens just fine. You're just standing there looking at Navarre. The door somehow changed its orientation. It opens out towards you, but it is open. You're just looking at Navarre.
All right, then.
Yorth's kind of moved back, and you see she's kind of putting, crosses her arms and her shoulders are up a little bit. She's like constantly looking left and right. She's uncomfortable here for sure.
It's got some of those dark enchanted hinges.
Well, I'm gonna stand in the doorway and just tell them what we found in that room.
Okay. Yorth is kind of looking at the braziers. She is looking at some of the scratchings and etchings all over the walls, and you see her mumble an incantation that Peter would have recognized if he's close enough, but I would say Navarre and Ketis don't know. And you hear her, after she's mumbled this incantation, is kind of tracing her finger along something, along the side of one of the braziers. And she's mumbling it out enough that Navarre and Ketis, you guys can hear her, and she says this.
Okay.
She says, I wonder what this means.
want to check this room.
Cool.
Okay. The door that you're at, you're
Same
listening
story.
at it? Okay.
Yep,
Make
same
a
story as
perception
last
check.
time.
There's whispering coming from the other side of this door, like two voices trying to talk to each other in very quiet tones, like the way that you would expect it to be if, like a couple of kids heard, somebody and they're trying to play hide and seek and trying to talk to each other. But they're like a loud whisper because they're not aware of controlling tone, that kind of sound. You making Toki hide? Or is that an accident?
That was an accident. What do you think? You guys want to check this room before the other?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. You open the
All
door
right, very
for it.
cautiously.
Okay. And look in. There's an old rotted carpet, a bookshelf that is empty, another shelf on the other side, and then a desk and a chair. We don't see anything.
Gonna do a quick investigation. Look behind the desk. Look for anything that could possibly hide.
Make a dex save. As you're stepping into the room to make your way to go behind the desk, you trip over something. Not enough to fall all the way. I mean, you kind of caught yourself in time. But you've kind of tripped forward and have to like almost put your hands out to stop yourself, by putting your hands onto the desk. And you look down and there's a floorboard that you didn't notice was loose, but it caught your foot, basically. Floorboard that is up a little bit that you've tripped over. And when you've tripped over it, the wood is so old and rotted that it actually snapped the floorboard. Just broke it away a little bit. And you see a finger sticking out through that from, that might have been the, where the floorboard had been raised from or something. But basically there's a finger there and there's something gold on the finger.
Ooh, free loot. Let's take a look at it.
All right, go ahead and make an investigation. And roll a d6 for me as well. Just a flat d6, the cubic one. Okay. In looking at the extended finger, it looks like it looks like it's buried in dirt, but there's a hand that is kind of pointed up, that was pointing at the door, and the floorboard was raised up from that. That's where you were kind of kicked over. But with the floorboard broken away, you can see most of the hand exposed, where it's still just kind of sticking out of dirt. There's a ring on one of the fingers, on the middle finger, that's still pointed towards the door. That's as much as you can see at the moment.
Am I detecting anything arcane through the ring itself? Does it appear to be a normal or non-cursed type?
Make an Arcana check. It doesn't appear to be magical. There is something magical about the corpse. You're seeing a small amount of alteration coming from the hand.
All right, I guess I'll kind of whisper out into the hallway and let them know what I see, so they can jump in with me here. And I'm going to remove that ring and go ahead and save that for a future date.
Okay. As you're pulling the ring off of the finger, like you're kind of leaning down to do this, the floorboards that are surrounding you basically are just so weak and old and rotted that they're beginning to kind of fall apart. Looks like something's going on in Salt Lake City. Probably another shooting or something. There's 3,500 people listening to the police radio in Salt Lake City right now. Anyway, I just got an alarm on my phone for it. Usually any big numbers like that are usually like a mass shooting type of thing. Anyways, as you're kind of standing there, though, like the floorboards are around that are just so weak and rotted that as you're kind of pulling the ring away from it, the arm is lifted up with it because you have to kind of give it some effort to get the ring off the finger, and the arm is kind of shifting enough of the floorboards and the dirt away. You're seeing like most of an arm up to the shoulder, It's not moving or anything, but it's revealed enough that it looks like you can see a sleeve that's long since rotted away for the most part, but it looks like a merchant-style garb as far as you can tell, up to the shoulder, like kind of middle class. But you are able to pull the ring off.
Okay. Is there anything notable about the body itself if I were to pull the body up a little bit, just to kind of observe?
Well, digging it out the rest of the way, I would say, I mean, there's really it doesn't take much effort at all, just like you can really do most of this with your hand just by, grabbing the wrist and pulling the body. Like, it's intact enough that it'll kind of come along with you, and the dirt just kind of shifts off of it. You can expose enough of it to get the, much of it out anyways. It's wearing a shirt, or a tunic rather, but it's largely pulled up, and let's say parts of it have been removed, is how I'll word that in a very polite manner. But it looks relatively richly dressed for middle class. As you're doing this, and you guys are looking around, kind of being cautious about investigating this place. There's another boom. Make a wisdom check, or wisdom save rather. And
It says the water is black with venom.
Ketis and Ketis and Peter both take 4 psychic damage. Was that it was shift, I think. Yorth seems to have resisted it. With that booming sound kind of going through, and you have to kind of close your eyes and bring your hand up to your eyes just to trying to shake it off kind of thing. Roll a d6 again, Peter. When you look back down, you're holding the wrist of a body totally different than it had been previously. This, when you look back down, is now headless. Is about half the size that it had been previously, dressed in a simple woolen robe, and where the head has been taken off of the shoulders, it's no longer there. It's still very old, very there's not blood or anything. It's long since kind of rotted away, but the wound looks clean, like it would have had to have been almost surgically removed, not hacked off with in a fight or anything. There's no ragged edges to the cut.
Is the ring still on me?
It's still in your pocket, yes.
Okay, so the body itself physically changed. I guess what I'll do is I'll step back out to the hallway and let them know, whisper to them kind of what's going on in there.
Okay.
I'll follow your lead, guys.
Alright, well, wasn't there another door in that room that Barney and Yorth were in? Should we check that first before we go to the door with the sounds, or what?
Yeah, there's one right there.
Okay.
You can open that door, Navarro.
Can I hear anything through it?
Make a perception check.
I'm gonna wait in the doorway while she does that, make sure it doesn't close again.
The singing, the girl singing, is closer now. It sounds like it's coming from not the other side of this door, but certainly nearby. Basically, the sounds you're hearing just happen to coincide with why you're listening at this door, but it sounds like skipping, like a little kid skipping and singing that song, and it sounds closer now. But it's not coming from the other side of that door. Other side of the door, you're not hearing anything outside of the kind of watery sound.
I guess just slowly open, see what's inside.
Okay. It's a very short, tiny little hallway, like basically a landing that leads to stairs, and those stairs go down.
Okay. Can I see anything down the stairs?
when you look down those stairs, there's faint light coming from it, this same kind of gray swirling light. And from the angle, it looks like you're basically looking at the front doors again.
Okay. I guess we'll head out of this room and let them know about the stairs.
Okay.
You guys want to go check the last room?
Might as well.
What are you guys doing? There's 2 doors so far that you haven't looked at on the west side, the ones that you both listened at already, where you heard the singing from originally.
You guys want to do the lower left-hand door down that?
Is that the
Yeah, it's fine.
I think you guys cut out. Try that again. What'd you say?
I said, isn't that the door where the claw came out?
Yeah, the bottom left one is, yeah. You can draw
Check the
Sako.
singing door.
You can always, you can move your tokens to it, doesn't matter, but you can always draw too if you right-click on the map and then go to pointers, which is the top left, has a little arrow icon. You can use those to draw like an arrow pointing at what you're talking about, or draw a circle around it or a square, things like that. What are you guys doing?
Who wants to go first?
You guys want to trigger that singing girl?
Cool.
You heard, well, you all heard her singing while Navarro was at that other door. She sounded like she'd moved through the house.
Can you still hear her through that door?
When you go back over there and listen at it again, you're hearing the same kind of scraping sounds that Ketis had earlier, and you still hear the singing very faintly, but it's coming from somewhere else in the house now. Doesn't sound like it's coming from inside of that door.
You guys want to find out what's in here?
Okay.
Sure.
I guess I'll slowly open the door and take a peek.
Okay. You slide the door open, just kind of cautiously peeking through. It doesn't. The door doesn't react, and you've got a dancing light over your head that you can see into this room a little bit from. It looks like there is a couple of windows. It is a pretty large, compared to the size of this house, for what you've seen so far, it is a pretty large square room. There's kind of an archway that leads back to another spot, or another kind of small separated room maybe, but not separated by a door. You can see tables and benches and things, but on the left wall, where, you know, basically directly ahead of you on the left, there is what looks like a black curtain. Looks like there's another archway that should go into to the south, basically to the other part of the room there, but the curtain is blocking that way. The curtain is right here. I'll go ahead and reveal it as if it was a door, but the curtain's right there.
Alright. So if I stand here, can I, like, peek through the curtain? I'm assuming it moves.
Well, okay, so you reach your hand up to grab the curtain to kind of, move it aside a little bit to look through, and make a strength save. As you've grabbed it to try to kind of shift it aside, the same kind of clawed hand that you saw from a distance through the hallway there reaches out, grabs your wrist, and yanks it down. You're still able to hold onto the curtain, but it is with something else behind it has shifted the curtain back, covering it so you can't see behind it. And then the hand lets go of your wrist and it comes up and flips you off, and then it disappears behind the curtain.
Alright, somebody else can try. I'm gonna stand over here.
Alright, let's see if I can open it.
Okay, make a strength save.
Send Toki.
You, as soon as you've even kind of grabbed it, something from the other side, you feel like something from the other side just hits your hand. Like doesn't grab yours. It just like almost like it was punched through the curtain. Not hard enough to hurt or anything, but enough to make you like let go to let go of the curtain.
Should we just blow the fucking thing out?
Mage hand. Give it a mage hand pull.
I'll use mine too.
Okay. Both of you try to send your mage hands to it, and as soon as it touches the curtain, the magic dissipates. You pull your hand back, and it's floating again. But where it touches it, it's just as if it's nullified.
Alright, what do you guys think? Ours left one of our Bluetooth speakers on, saying the battery's low.
Oh, gotcha. That's annoying. Like, usually Bluetooth speakers will just beep. This one actually tells you, hey, assholes, change the battery.
Does the curtain reach all the way to the floor?
Yeah, top to bottom.
Well, what do you guys want to do?
While you guys are kind of figuring out what to do,
Then Boom says house again and says, I know you.
I realize I held that down longer than I was supposed to. Wisdom saves. Keep it in control on that shift. There we go. You all shake it off, kind of are almost expecting it at this point. Oh, behind you, by the way, you guys can see into this other, because there's no door back here. There's just a kind of an open archway. It looks like it goes into another room with a couple of long benches.
There's nothing else in there?
I mean, you haven't investigated, you haven't really looked around, but I mean, that's what you see so far.
Take a look.
Make an investigation check.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you don't really see much of interest in there. It seems like that there is a small amount of that's kind of liquidy sand that is dripping down the wall, and that's it.
Alright,
Peter, make an investigation check. Perception. Make a perception roll on Peter. There is similarly etched on the wall nearby, as you saw in the foyer, in the kind of entrance room, you see this scrawled, like scratched into the wall.
right. And what happens if there's something small on the ground, like a little rock or something I can pick up and try to throw through the curtain? Piece of broken wood or something?
There's plenty of broken wood. There aren't rocks in here, but yeah, I mean, you can pick up like a chunk of wood or something, sure.
Toss it to the curtain and see what happens.
Okay, so you pick it up and throw it at the curtain. It hits it, and it's like the curtain is weighted almost. It doesn't. The curtain gives only a slight bit, and the wood just clatters against the floor.
Okay.
It's not thrown back or anything like that. It feels like the curtain must be heavy enough that it just didn't really react to it too much.
Alright, what do you guys think?
Well, we still have... Isn't there a door in the main foyer that we haven't gone through yet?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Is that
this
me?
one,
Okay.
I think.
Yep.
Yes, I will see if I can't hear anything.
Perception check. There is... How to describe this? There is what you would expect to sound like talking, but you've probably heard when you've first gone to a few of these new worlds and first kind of come in contact with different species, and their languages still sounded very alien to you. It sounds like an aquatic language almost, is what it sounds like. It sounds like two creatures discussing something, because there's back and forth between the two, but they're talking in a way that you would, being familiar with essentially biology, that these creatures are speaking in a very I don't know, bubbly kind of a sound almost.
Alright. You guys want to see what's in there?
Okay.
Okay. Guess I'll
I'll
take a
follow.
look inside.
Okay. You open the door then, and there was movement in here, and as soon as you've opened the door, all of these things have all stopped moving instantly. And what you see is there is what appears to be a human man that is shackled, like he's got manacles around his wrists, who is on the floor. He's kneeled down on the floor, and standing behind him is a taller creature, very skinny and certainly very alien looking, with tentacles hanging down from its face, kind of a slick purplish bluish skin to it, bald with these tentacles hanging down from its face. And there's another one that is standing off to this, another one of that style creatures that is standing off to the side, and the two of them are what you gather to have been discussing, to have been talking. The human that is on the floor, eyes are closed and looks enthralled, for lack of a better term. But the two squid-faced looking things, they of course resemble the illithid that you'd seen earlier. Immediately stop and look at you, and there is an immediate anger, like a hatred in their eyes. They look very angry that you've somehow interrupted them. And one of them puts a hand up, and the door slams shut in front of you. As far as what you could see in the room, there was another door. I'll go ahead and reveal, because you could see most of the room anyways. There was another door almost directly in front of you right there, and then another near the back, a couple of windows, and it looks like some stairs.
You guys want to go in there?
Okay.
Meet the neighbors.
You open the door again?
Yeah.
Okay. You open the door and swing it open, and the scene you see is a little different now. The one of them is gone. The one that had slammed the door shut has disappeared. He's no longer visible. The one that was standing behind the human sees you and holds a hand up, and he's giving you a gesture that you don't know what it means. It's basically two fingers, almost like a peace sign. You notice that their fingers, when he holds it up, have one extra knuckle, basically one extra length of the digit, and he's holding it up. It almost looks like a peace sign, except one of them is curved, and you don't know what that's supposed to mean. It seems like maybe it's supposed to be you're intuiting that it should be a gesture of some kind, like maybe it's either maybe he's trying to flip you off, or maybe it's like a hold on a second, or be quiet, or anything like a shush gesture. You just don't know. It doesn't translate to any gestures you're familiar with. But as he's looking at you, again, the other one has disappeared that had closed the door, but the one that's standing behind the human is still there. And you see the tendrils around its face flare open, and inside between the tentacles, there's a set of 6 of them on this. There's 3 on either, or 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, where they've opened up the space between where a mouth would be is a very beak-like. Do you know what a lamprey is?
Yeah.
So the mouth of a lamprey is basically, it's like a circular mouth with sharp teeth all around the outside of it. and this creature leans down and kind of kneels its way down a little bit. It's wearing robes, so you can't really see like the anatomy of it behind that, but as far as whether it's actually kneeling or just somehow squishing itself, but it basically kneels its way down, wraps the tentacles around the head of the human. You can see one eye behind one of the tentacles is not, or one tentacle is covering one eye, but the other eye opens and it looks immediately terrified, that the human man does. And there's a crunching sound and then a squishing sound, and the eyes go dim, and you're hearing kind of a slurping noise coming from this kind of tentacled creature. And it does this for a matter of a few seconds, if you guys aren't interrupting him in any way, for a matter of about 15-20 seconds or so. And then the tentacles come loose, and the creature stands back up and pushes the human off to the side, who just slumps over to the shoulder, clearly dead. The creature just standing there staring at you.
Okay, what does he do if I just barely step inside the room?
The same gesture that it had been showing you, it does that again. It holds it back up. And make wisdom saves. What key did I set? Have I been using the right key? When I've set these off, have you guys heard it with the echoing thing?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I think it's this one. Booming through the house, then you hear,
This final toll will sound my greatest arrival.
and Peter, you take 6 psychic damage. You do still hold your concentration. Spider climb, it's probably been coming up close. Spider climb's going to drop soon. Just keep that in mind. Not that you necessarily need it, but you know, your concentration will be ending soon just from the spell.
Okay.
And Yorith succeeds. That did have the effect on it, right? When I sent that over, the Vocaloid effect. Okay, cool.
Yeah, kind of dark and robotic kind of.
Wanted to make sure it was the right one. I have different keys for different things, so. But it's still, the creature's still standing there. I mean, it's been 30 seconds now that you're just kind of standing there staring at each other.
Alright, well, I guess
You
just...
guys want to walk in?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Nivara, make a... What is the resistance for that? Let me see. Hang on. Where are its actions? I assume it's wisdom, but let me find it. It's actually intelligence. Make a intelligence save on Nivara. You feel something trying to wrap your hands together, trying to similarly the way that the human appeared to have been manacled, something trying to take your hands and snap them together in front of you. You're able to kind of fight it off, but as you're doing this, the eyes of the creature go wide and it fades away. It disappears. Peter, you can still see it. Nothing changed to you, but you saw that it casted a spell. 2, actually.
Alright. I'll let everybody know what I see, so that way everyone's on the same page.
He has backed away, and it looks like he's about to go through the wall over here. Yorith from behind you says, I don't like these squid fuckers.
Alright. Yes. Go check out the body.
Make an investigation check. Since you guys didn't stop him, the creature disappeared. Peter, you saw him walk through the wall as if the wall wasn't there.
Alright, I'll let everybody know that, since I saw it.
Yeah, he walked to the north.
Position myself by this door.
Okay. Looking at it closely, I would say even Make a medicine check as well, actually, on Ivar. The body's definitely dead. You look him over; it doesn't have anything of any value. He's dressed in like what looks like a burlap, like a cut burlap sack, basically, essentially a slave. Even with that low medicine check, he looks slightly desiccated, like a mummified body almost, and he was clearly alive a minute ago. And now he looks, like he's been dead a long time.
Okay. And he doesn't have anything on him.
No. In fact, even when you look at the wrists, those manacles are not there. You had seen him with some physical wrappings of some kind on his wrists, that he was manacled when he was still alive, but his hands don't appear to be bound at all. And in fact, rigor mortis is starting to set in. Normally that takes 8 hours after a body's dead, but it's already begun.
Can I see anything down those stairs?
You can see the front door again.
And are those stairs that go up?
Yeah, there's a set that goes down, and then a set that goes up that are kind of above them. So around, I'll move you real quick, but right there's a set that goes up, and then the ones you're at go down.
Okay. And same thing with these stairs. See the
Yep.
front door?
Yep. Yora says, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this guy, but back where we came from, there was this painter called MC Escher, and that's what the shit reminds me of. Do you guys know who MC Escher is?
No.
Yes, the stare guy and the perception one.
I thought it was a woman, but I could be totally wrong. I know the paintings, I don't know the artist.
Yeah,
No, it's a dude.
too.
That's a dude. Moritz Cornelius Escher.
There's just one other room in here? Or door?
Correct.
I'm gonna open mine and check out too.
Okay. You open that one, and it looks like a very tiny little office, a very cramped little office space. Whoops. I gotta put mask mode back on, hang on. It looks like a tiny little cramped space with a bookshelf on one side, with tons and tons of papers, and a very small desk basically on the other side.
Definitely thumb through anything of interest.
The moment you step into the door, there's the slightest wind. I wouldn't even say wind, but basically your disturbance of you moving into this room has brought in enough airflow that as soon as the kind of room itself is touched, they were already old and rotted already, and they start kind of falling apart basically in front of your eyes. It starts just kind of collapsing into dust, bits and pieces. And it's a slow process, but it is happening.
No chance of touching or grabbing anything yet then. It's just all gonna go.
I mean, you can try. It's not all gone yet.
I guess what I'll do is I'll just grab the most stable looking book and check just the basic contents of it real fast.
Make a dexterity check. You grab a book that is already starting to dissolve as you're going to pull it away. And in fact, even under where your hand is, it's dissolving in your hand there. And you kind of carefully fling it open and go to the nearest page, and it's covered in sigils and runes and things like that. But what little you can make out in the middle of it, it says that. Before the rest of it begins to kind of dissolve down. Like, that's the only thing you could make out in the middle of it. The rest of it wasn't in words. The rest of it was in symbols you don't recognize.
I think
It could
we're
have been a
stuck
language.
in
You
the
just
Cure
don't
music
necessarily
video.
Does The Cure have, I've never really listened to it. I think they have one or two songs that I know, just probably the popular ones that would have been on the radio, but this is a very particular style that at least Ben and Becky are definitely not familiar with, or at least they hadn't been previously. But the kinds of things in here are very clearly, the themes, I guess I'd say, are from a very particular author and style that Ben and Becky weren't familiar with.
As long as there's no words of the old ones, I'm fine. You guys want to start checking out some stairs?
Navarro, were you going to open
Okay.
that door over there?
Oh, yeah.
You opening the door and peeking around the corner. It's basically a Victorian era bathroom. Like, it hasn't been used, obviously, and quite in an indeterminable amount of time. But basically, there are two curtains, one on either side, that are both pulled away, and two like outhouse style toilets, basically. No sign of the creature, though. That the squid-faced creatures moved on. You guys already, because of Yorth, you actually knew they were called a lithid. So here, I'll just tell you that.
Nothing else in the toilets.
Make an investigation check. What's Ketis doing? G.
I'll just go.
Huh?
Alright, make sure she's there. Follow her.
Your thing's up.
Mark, what? Yeah, we'll just follow Navarre anywhere. Is she done checking out that room, or what?
I mean, it's not much to check out. It's basically a small bathroom. You didn't find anything else in there, Navarre.
Did we need to check some staircases you guys were saying?
You can try.
What's Peter doing?
Okay.
I'm actually contemplating checking out these stairs. I'm gonna look down those stairs over by Navarra.
Make an investigation check. Where you go over to that wall, because you were specifically, looking for books and documents earlier, you notice that there's a small shelf, just kind of like a side table kind of thing against the wall there, at the top of the stairs, and there's a book sitting on top of it. It looks very old. It looks like it will probably dissolve pretty quickly, but it looks in better shape than the ones that did dissolve for you in front of the other room.
Alright, carefully just kind of take a look and thumb through it.
Okay, you grab it with your hands and pick it up then? I mean, you've already kind of said that, I just wanted to clarify. But,
if possible, just leave it on the table and just gently use a finger just to easily touch it and flip the page open.
where you grab the corner of it, and like basically where you've touched it, it begins to dissolve, and it's slowly dissolving. That will consume the rest of the book, but you have enough time to flip it open and potentially read at least a small amount of it. Are you just going to the first page and then going from there?
Yeah, check a first page index, see what's in it, and see if there's anything of interest I should just quickly flip to.
Okay. Where you flipped it open to the first page, the title page, it's symbols you don't recognize. It's clearly supposed to be a language. It is a book, but you can't read it.
Okay. Well, I don't know what he's doing. I was going to say I might be able to read it, but I don't know what he's doing, so I can't just run over there.
I mean,
'Cause I was gonna go check out
you
the
can
stairs.
see,
So-
you can see that he's flipped open a book and is looking at the book, but Peter hasn't said, "Hey, I can't read this."
Yeah, I guess I'll bark that command out really quick. If anyone can read this, let me know what it says.
I should be able to. I have eyes of the room keeping. So
Okay.
if I got there in time.
Okay.
Before it
Yeah.
disintegrated.
So it's slowly decomposing this book. Basically, it's slowly kind of falling apart. But Peter mentions you kind of sidles over, so they give you room to be able to look at it. The title page calls it that, and below that the subtitle says. What was it? Hang on. sorry. I had this note in there before, and then when I updated earlier, I accidentally deleted it. Well, I ran back to a previous update and it didn't have this in there. That. That's all that's on the first page. That's the title.
Right, I'm going to tell them. I'll tell them what the title is and the subtitle.
Okay. What are you doing? This book is slowly deteriorating, so I mean, you just read the first page and that's all that's on there. Are you just going to close the book? You're going to go to the next page? What are you doing?
Open it up maybe a third of the way through, see what we can see, because I know we don't have much time. Maybe we'll skip forward a little bit.
Okay. The page is about probably 25% deteriorated at this point. So you flip it in, a third of the way through the book. You are jumping enough in that you can kind of infer a little bit, and you read this page and then the one after that and then the one after that, and by then it's about halfway deteriorated. So I mean, you're able to get a little bit of information from it. It looks like a series of events that have occurred over many thousands of years, many thousands of years. Just the few pages you've read is probably over the span of probably a dozen, 12,000 years or so. But it is a history of, as they describe them, the Gith so what information you've been able to gather, it looks like the Illithid at one point, the squid-faced people, as you've been aware of them, were enslaved to a species called the Gith. And they escaped that slavery and are now hunting the Gith to extinction. And that's what these are. Basically, this is a detailing of the early parts of that war, where the Illithid have kind of broken free and are creating more of themselves. That's how it's worded. It's not worded like they procreate, but creating more of themselves is basically how they worded it in a very strange way. But detailing how they're essentially trying to eradicate the Gith over the span of millennia.
I will
See how the book ends.
Then I'll jump to the end if I have time. On Peter's request.
By the time you flip to the end of the book, because you've read those kind of middle pages for a bit there, when you flip to the very end, it looks like you don't have any means of reckoning the date that this book was written in. So you don't, meaning that there are numbers there, but they don't translate to the numbers that you would have been able to recognize history from, certainly because you don't know the history of this, I'll say world, but this place that you guys are in. So you don't necessarily know if this could have been written last week, this could have been written a few thousand years ago. You have no way of knowing, so you can't tell if this is a modern recollection or this happened forever ago. But the end of the book says that there are only pockets of resistance left, and we will eventually eradicate all of our former enslavers.
Alright, then I'll tell the group what I heard, or what I read.
And by then, the last of the pages have largely deteriorated. The cover is still there because it's leather. It's resisting a little longer. But most of the pages have kind of fallen into almost a powdery dust at this point. In fact, you're probably breathing in bits of it by now. But the information you gathered from this was a make an intelligence check on Ketis. You probably haven't put two and two together, but since you've said that you've been kind of saying that out loud to the rest of the party, go ahead and make intelligence checks on Ivara and Peter, and I'll make one for Yorth as well. Oops, that was wisdom. For really all three of you, Ketis was still kind of focused on the wording of the book and hadn't really, gotten to analysis phase yet. But you guys, thinking about what he's described to you as he's kind of reading this aloud, these pages of text here, it sounds certainly very familiar. There's something so similar about how the Illithid describe their cosmological chasing of these others, essentially, that they've kind of been seeking out from world after world after world and just eradicating them as they go. the obvious connection being in Yorth kind of spouts this out. She says, I mean, that's awfully similar to how the hunger kind of chases us from world to world and keeps devouring them as they go along. I mean, it seems kind of the same, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So does the apotheosis belong to the Gith?
She shrugs. She says, fuck if I know. Certainly
Alright.
interesting, though. I really would have liked to have, been able to read that book thoroughly if we could have gotten all the information out of it. Not that nothing you guys did. Of course, that wasn't your fault or anything. Just, shit that would have been interesting to have, don't you think?
Definitely. Well, at least we know some motive, at least now.
She says, we also, I mean, based on having seen one of those things when, in the first world we came to, 100 years ago now, we know for sure, based on this text here and having, seen proof of it, that they've been at least in 3 worlds, because we were aware of them, our own world. We'd never seen them. They were mythological, but, at least 2 worlds we've physically seen them on, that they are capable of traveling between the cosmological worlds, planes, however else you'd like to describe it, and that means that if they are traveling between them, then texts like these could potentially exist elsewhere. So it might be, something if we could. I don't know that it matters even at this point. Maybe we're too close to the end. By the way, you guys, as a group, since you kind of agreed to follow Yorth's plan, you know that the end is coming, basically. That at least theoretically, as far as you guys can believe it, when you guys enact this plan to break Apotheosis into pieces, that will be the end, or at least you expect it to be, because once that's done, presumably, you won't be able to reset anymore. At least you don't know that. You don't know that for sure, but, you may not be able to. So you expect that you are coming to an end, and you kind of almost feel like it's probably all of your deaths. But... so anyways, when she says that, that's not a surprise to you. That's, you've had years of this discussion already. It's been 7 since you guys agreed to that plan anyways. So that's not really surprising when she tells you that. But anyways, she mentions, it would be potentially useful for us if we could find this kind of, information out there somewhere. What are you guys doing?
Which way do we need to go?
Tried all the stairs.
I don't think I tried these ones yet, 'cause I came to look at the book.
I gotta make a note real quick. All right. There we go. Okay. Looking up the stairs, yeah, it looks like they go back up to. If you can presume that if you went up those stairs, you would be arriving in the foyer again. You guys have been in here a while though, and there's another booming sound. Make a wisdom saves, and it says.
There is a little lamb lost in dark woods.
Did that not copy? Oh, I was scrolled up too high. Peter, you take, as this booming sound goes off, you take 6 more psychic damage. It feels like it's making headway. You still, by now your spider climb has fallen. You succeeded in the concentration check. It's just been too long, so it's fallen. Roll hers too. She succeeds. There's basically, if that protection in your mind was a door, you felt a lock click. What are you guys doing?
Alright, was there any other doors or anything we didn't go through yet? Besides the curtain?
Just a curtain and that other door just below the curtain. Must be the same room.
You guys want to try it? Just try bursting through, maybe?
Yeah, just door kick it.
Or kick it. Or just send some fucking firebolts to the curtain or something.
The girl singing is coming from. Well, I guess, or if you're close enough, anyways, it's coming from in there again. It sounds like.
Okay. Back here again.
Yeah,
Was
you
that the
can hear
door?
coming from in there. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
that and the curtain.
The original door.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
seem to go into. You're presuming that it goes into the same space.
All right, you want me to bust it down?
Want me just to try and get in from this side, set that curtain on fire?
Kick some ass. Tell me when you're ready, and I'll kick the door.
You're trying to simultaneously do this?
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I'll just cast Dragon's Breath on myself with the cantrip, and then we'll all enter at the same time. I'll try and set the curtain on fire with my dragon.
Okay.
Cool.
Where's Dragon's Breath? Doo-doo-doo.
Under cantrip spell.
And you're using fire?
Put my shield up too, to be safe.
Okay. Alright, you call out 1, 2, 3 over your rocky talkies, and you start spewing out a cone of fire that touches against the curtain and washes down as if it's like there's a waterfall there almost. It just isn't touching the curtain. The same way that your hands, when it went into it, were nullified, the magical fire is also nullified. But at the same time, Ketis, you try to kick the door, and where you smash your foot against the lock, the door looks like it cracks there. It looks like the wood cracks and the door breaks. Door flings open, and that same hand comes swinging out and smacks you across the face, and then as it's yanking away, slams the door shut again.
Damn it.
And then you particularly, I'd say that Peter, you don't see any further reaction, but Ketis, are immediately in your mind. You hear,
Where are your manners?
and make a wisdom save. Just Ketis.
Okay.
It felt like that talking into your mind was similar to the others, but you were able to kind of shrug it off.
Oh shit. What do you guys think?
Last ditch effort, desperation. I'm gonna yell into the curtain. Let us in,
Yeah,
please.
Okay, so
we just want to talk.
all right. So when you said "let us in," there was a grunt, like a unhappy asshole, like "fuck you" kind of a grunt. But when you said "please," there's and then you see the hand reach out in front of you, Peter, and you see the fingers kind of come around the sides of the curtain, and the curtain is pulled off to the side. It's still very dark in the room. There is, light in there. Peter, or Keita, sorry, you're still standing in front of a door that you've broken, but it's been pushed shut. Peter, you can see into the room enough now.
In my rocky talkies, I'm gonna let him know. Ask permission to come in. And be nice.
Alright. Then alright, then I'll say, I'm sorry, may I please come in? I'll be good, I promise. I won't smash any more doors.
There's a scratching sound, and you see the doorknob, even though that you've kind of cracked the wood around where the doorknob is, you see the doorknob turn, which is ineffective because it's not connected anymore, but you see the doorknob turn and the door swings open.
Okay. Well, what do you guys think?
Might as well try to go in.
Okay. In here, the room is pretty badly destroyed. One wall is very large windows, and there are mirrors all over the place. There are tall, probably 7 foot tall mirrors that are 4 feet wide or so, and they're in various places along the walls. Basically, the 5-foot squares, like if you were standing here, there's a mirror. Not there. Here, there's a mirror. There's one here. 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 Basically, you know, any of these spaces, I just moved you around through all of that, but basically any of the spaces that, you know, you could put something against a wall of this size, there are mirrors at all of them.
Alright, and do we see the other creature in here that was with the hand?
No.
Okay. Alright, what happens if I...
Hang on.
Go look
While
at
you
the-
guys are looking around in here, and kind of got the door open and everything, you hear,
You've learned too much and nothing.
make wisdom saves. There you go. That's a good roll finally for Peter.
Oh, no.
Both Nivara and Ketis, you guys take 7. Let me go roll it for yours. It's 7 psychic damage. And yours fails too. Whoops. You've both failed twice, okay. You still... You didn't... Did you put False Life up recently, G?
That was up from last time.
Okay, alright, then it's a full 7 still. You had 7 on, so it's 13. You and Nivara both failed twice, so you still are holding it off, but it feels like, you know, one more failure and you guys are going to start seeing effects. Same for Peter's actually one ahead of you guys, so next one for Peter will be a lot more dangerous. Thankfully, Toki is too brainless to be getting this. His intelligence isn't high enough. Sorry, you're looking around in the mirrors here, though. But while you're kind of, you know, taking a look at them and looking around here, that singing is getting closer. What are you guys doing?
Could I just walk around the room and just kind of gently tap on each mirror and make sure that there's nothing weird about the reflections?
When you come up to it and reach toward the mirror, I mean, you see yourself, you see, you know, your normal reflection, but you reach forward and tap on it and make a perception check with advantage on Peter. Your perception rolls are already ridiculous, so the advantage probably not going to matter too much, but Peter would definitely have advantage on this, so. That's probably why they're that natural 20 for fucking 35. That's why I wanted you to have advantage on it, because it seems, you know, likely Peter would notice this. It's definitely not quite right.
20.
It was shit. There's definitely not something quite right. That's what is in the reflection there is trying to mimic you as close as it can. You reached forward and tapped on it, and the wrist was turned just slightly, so the reflection was only slightly off, and you know, somebody else may not have noticed this. But where the kind of angle of your wrist basically was really fucking close. Your right hand, its reflection would look like your left hand, but it tapped against it, and it was just slightly turned off by a few degrees. It was the wrist was rotated slightly.
Okay, as I go around the room, is every mirror slightly off like that?
Yeah. It gets more and more noticeable. The details are just so tiny, but as you've repeated this across the other mirrors, they're not quite right.
Alright, I'm gonna whisper out to these guys, let them know that there's something off about those mirrors.
Yorith looks at you kind of quizzically. She says, "Really?" And she goes over to a mirror right over here, and is looking at it and kind of you know, waving at herself in the mirror. And she reaches forward and touches the mirror. Well, just so you guys can see this, let me see here. I'll show it to you. I dropped that to you in Discord. Where she touches the mirror, you guys don't see, you guys from the other angles, you're not really seeing this, but something reaches out from the mirror that looks like her hand and grabs her wrist and yanks her through, and she's sucked inside the mirror. And from the other side now, from this angle, you see her kind of coming over and banging against it as if it's like glass, and there's something moving behind her inside the mirror. What are you guys doing?
I don't know if she can hear us, but tell her to turn around. Something behind her.
She is looking over her shoulder. That thing behind her is like I'm not trying to be sexist here, but the way girls try to fight, where they swing their fists kind of badly, you know what I mean? Not punching, but like swinging and like hitting, like something's hit it. The other thing is hitting her in the back, and she's shouting at you guys, and you can hear her. It sounds muffled. She says, "Motherfucker, I'm stuck in here," as she's banging against the glass. You see from your angle, you see her turn around and her hands glow, and the apparition that was trying to hit her disappears before it has a chance to impact. And then she's turning and looking around, and you see her kind of looking left and right. She says, "Guys, I think I'm stuck in the walls."
All right, then.
I don't know if we're able to pull a Conan and start breaking some mirrors here.
Yeah,
when you
do that.
When you say that, you see your reflection stop trying to be nice, I guess is how I'd say it. Like your reflection in the mirror that you're standing close to moves and is not trying to clone you anymore. And it steps towards you, Peter, and steps out of it, and you're immediately, there's a clone of you standing in front of you. You actually have to step back almost to not touch it.
God, I'm such an ass.
It's evil, Peter.
It's just standing there at first, and in fact, even you get the impression when it steps through and is looking at you that its natural reaction, its natural response to you, is to still try to be mimicking what you're doing. So it's standing there in the same shape as you, like it feels like this is what it's supposed to do. It just naturally thinks this is how it's supposed to react. So it's just standing there in the same stance, I guess, as you're standing in.
I'm not gonna make a friend with this, but you guys want me to make a quick try on something?
Sure.
When you look over your shoulder and say that, you see standing beside Nivara is another one. And then you look over at Ketis, and sure enough, stepping out of the one that yours just disappeared into is a Ketis.
As nonchalantly as I possibly can I cast a firebolt into the mirror behind my doppelganger?
There's really no way to do that nonchalantly. He's pretty much, I mean, he's as tall as you are, and he's blocking most of the mirror. You'd pretty much have to hold your hand up, like, over its shoulder, or right over its face, essentially, to aim at the mirror unless you move. And he's still standing directly in front of the mirror. He only stepped outside of it. It is like, you know, as you looked over your shoulder to look at Nivara, and then look over your shoulder to look at Ketis, it was following that. Not looking in the same place you were, but making the same motion. So you look over your left shoulder, and it looks over its left shoulder, which to him would be looking at the staircase. Things like that. Like or looking at the wall, rather. Like it's not following what you're doing. It's literally cloning your exact movements is what it's trying to do.
Take a step to the left and cast firebolt.
Okay.
And tell Toki to take a move.
Yeah, he's pretty much right in front of Toki. Like, that's his cat now. So, go ahead and move Toki wherever you're moving him to. You hold your hand up to throw a firebolt at it as Toki's kind of crossing, across your feet. And as soon as where you're holding your hand out, its hand is kind of pointed almost towards Nivara. But as soon as you release the firebolt from it, your clone shrieks and holds a hand out and catches your firebolt. Roll initiative. go ahead and put one in for Toki as well. What is his dex? Alright, so he gets a +2. Go ahead and roll a flat d20 on Peter. And Peter, you get advantage on initiative rolls, so roll your own initiative again as well. Alright, so he gets an 8. And roll your initiative, and we'll see if it's better than an 11. Yeah, 15. Okay. Alright, these apparitions that have stood out or stepped out of there, the mirrored Nivara looks over towards actual Nivara, and as she's stepping forward, she steps into the kind of clear, having the space between, and as she's kind of closing that distance, her form collapses down until she's in a panther shape, and immediately is already reaching forward to bite into Nivara. Which hits. I'm going to grab your panther stats. 1 second. You have too many shapes. Shit, that's a lot lower. Alright, it's only 1d6 plus 2. But your kind of mirrored panther self bites into your wrist, where your arm is kind of held down behind you for a total of 4 damage. It is your turn. What are you doing?
Oh, which one do I want to go to? Alright. Well, I don't know. Polar bear could probably eat a panther, so we're going to go with that.
Okay, mark off your shape and hit the forearm part. There you go.
Where's my shape? Okay.
Alright, polar bear. Do you get multi-attack on polar bear? You do.
Yeah,
You get multi. So 2 attacks. One with bite, one with its claws.
I should probably...
Okay, and it hits. Is it 20? Why did it not show the attack? It should have. Oh, because that's your regular token. Let me grab your wild shape token and throw it on here. It still hits because it's over. It was definitely high enough, but let's grab. There she is. What was your 17? There you go. Alright. Okay, and you did 7. Let me make sure that applied to her. There we go. Alright. Is that it for your turn? Oh, sorry. You go do your claw as well.
No.
The new updated version of handling Druid Wild Shapes will actually help this, but I don't know that it'll be working before we finish balance. That hits as well. For 15 damage. Okay, is that it for your turn?
Yeah.
Alright, so Polar Bear v Panther going on against the hallway door. It is Peter's turn.
Alright, I'm kind of looking at the angled Bizarro Peter. I'd like to cast a fireball to mirror Ketis in that angle.
Huh? You mean firebolt or fireball?
Oh,
Fireball's
sorry,
gonna...
firebolt.
Okay, I was
Yes,
gonna say
sorry,
that's gonna blow all of
firebolt.
you up. So, okay,
Yeah, firebolt to mirror Ketis.
okay. What is your intent? Is trying to get the mirror version of you to also do that? Is that what you're trying to do?
Just to see what he does, because
Okay.
if the mirrored me fires closer towards Navarra, then I know exactly where we're going
Gotcha.
with
Okay.
this battle.
Okay. All right. So you aim your arm out and begin the incantation to throw a firebolt towards mirrored Ketis. The Peter, you see the mirrored Peter. You kind of look back, over your shoulder. You got one hand facing out to your right, and then you kind of look back over your shoulder towards to the left towards your mirror, And he, like, instinctively, its arm comes up, and then it's like it reaches his other arm over and grabs it and pulls his own arm back down. Like he's having to fight himself to not copy your movements.
Okay.
So go ahead and, like, you have to finish the cast for it, so go ahead and roll the cast for your firebolt. Oh, nice. Okay. When you do this, when you kind of throw this firebolt out and it kind of erupts out of your hand and immediately smacks Ketis and what's the natural 20, so it does hit your mirror, Ketis. The mirror version of you, where it kind of resisted that, where it tried to bring its own arm down, you see that it starts to cough, and out of its mouth, this swarm of that black liquid sand comes spitting out of its mouth and immediately flings over against the wall and smacks the mirror Ketis and hits him and knocks him back into the wall a little bit. Go ahead and roll your damage. You'd already... Okay,
yeah,
it did do the crit. You hit the attack again, so I thought it was going to break the crit, but it didn't. So, all right, but roll it one more time as well for the damage from the black sand. Instead of me rolling it, the same anyway. There you go. And all of basically your firebolt and this black sand hits the mirrored Ketis almost at the same time and kind of pushes him against the wall. And he looks like he's disoriented. Is that it for your turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Ketis' turn. The one in front of you was just knocked back, and you see him kind of try to right himself and lift his shield up in front of himself, kind of blocking his left flank from Peter. You're muted or something, G. I'm hearing you through Becky, so.
Okay, is that better?
Yep.
Alright, I will see if I can hit myself then.
Okay. You bring the sword down in front of yourself and try to hit it, and he was kind of swinging at the same time you were, or like he was trying to copy your movement, and you end up kind of locking the hilts of your blades locked together, just where the hilts kind of stick, just because it was the exact same movement of him trying to copy it. You see him kind of trying to shake it away, but it, like, they just hit together.
Okay, then I'm going to take a step back over here.
Okay.
And...
He tries to step back as well, but he can't get further back. He's stuck on the wall.
Okay. And then see if I can hit me or Peter with a death knell.
Okay. So you kind of aim your hand over, still holding Ruin, but reach over towards him and try to blast Death Knell at him. Go ahead. And it hits.
Okay. And...
So this
should I roll the other? Should I roll the other cast? Or just do it one at a time?
You might as well. If you're going to send 3 of them, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead and do the other 2. Just do it one and make sure it's not a crit, and then do the last one, make sure it's not a crit. Cool.
Okay.
Do the last one.
And then also I wanted to check and see.
That's great. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll the damage 3 times. There's no special effect for this one.
And then also, what is Ketis doing? Mirror Ketis doing when I do this?
Sure.
Is he trying to?
Yep. You send out 3 blasts of Death Knell at mirrored Peter, who is kind of still aimed towards where you had been, where you kind of vomited out this black sand liquid towards you. Are you knocking mirrored Peter back or no? You can push him through.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay. So he's
I'll put him back
here.
Yeah.
So he's kind of pushed through that, and he's still kind of facing towards your mirror, basically, but stuck around the corner. It does knock him back, and mirrored Ketis was turned in the same direction you were, basically. So both of you kind of facing this way, and he's trying to copy your movement. Nothing comes out when he's trying, though. He's like aimed at it, but nothing happened. That's it for your turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, Mirrored Peter comes around, he moves back forward again, trying to, yeah, he can move half, yeah, so he can move to here, basically back where he was, and is looking at the, Peter, make a wisdom save. Real Peter. You feel the need almost, like the psychological need somehow to turn towards Nivara's in her polar bear form and try to firebolt her. You were able to kind of hold it off, but I would say actually you may have disadvantage on the next version of that if that happens again, specifically because of the previous failures. If that's going to kind of snowball and get worse, but Mirrored Peter does try to firebolt, because that's Peter's favorite spell. The polar bear version here. If I can find this firebolt, there it is. And rolls a natural fucking 1. No special effect, but natural 1. Toki's turn, is he doing anything?
Now just running interference around Bizarro Peter.
Okay. Alright, then you guys will have advantage then, because your Toki is basically around his ankles trying to pull on, like claw into its robes and things like that, trying to distract him. Mirrored Ketis is moving forward, trying to make a swing at he actually kind of pushes around this table, it's about as far as he can go, and is going to try to swing at Ketis. Ketis, make a wisdom save as well. Similarly, you feel the urge to kind of try to just swing back to make the same motion, but you shrug it off in enough time to just throw your shield up and deflect the swing. So your, the version of your sword, basically, of this mirror tries to swing at you, and you just kind of knock it out of the way. It is... Mirror Nivara is going to... you notice that it's trying to move similarly to how you are. It's a different quadruped, but basically as you put your weight on your right paw, it does the same. And it's going to try to swing at you, make a wisdom save. You guys keep rolling too high. It tries to reach around and claw under like to kind of claw at your torso, and you kind of spin around to the side and get out of the way just in time. But in so doing, you see that there's when you kind of spin off to the side and see this, there's a thin thread that seems to be connecting this panther back to the mirror that it came from. Like where its body moved enough out of the way that you're seeing this kind of thin thread of this black smoke, this grayish black smoke connecting it back to where the mirror is. Your turn. What are you doing? It's actually your wild shape turn. There you go.
Alright, can I reach the mirror?
It's behind her. You'd have to go around her. I'll draw little circles, I guess, where they were. So that's where hers is. Ketis, yours is here. And Peter, yours is here. There you go. That's where the mirrors are. And Yorith was sucked into the one that Ketis's clone came out of.
Okay, so if I go around her and try to, let's see.
So you're not moving. She, let's see if she can resist it. Hang on. She does not. So as you kind of step to one side and try to move around her, she tries to shirk. She thinks that she's a panther, and is moved over here, and is like, you see her kind of shake. She's still facing the corner and just shakes her head in panther form. What are you doing?
Is that smoke still attached to her?
Yeah, it looks like it's even going through the wall. Like it basically, that smoke line is going into like the door and then into the wall. in the direction of where she is.
Okay. What happens if I claw at the mirror?
Make an attack roll. You don't need a target, just roll. Your claws impact the mirror, and there's an awful scraping sound like nails on a chalkboard. Go and roll damage. You carved a very nasty gash down the middle of it. It didn't break, but it looks damaged.
Okay. Did anything happen with the smoke that's attaching her?
There was a distortion, almost, for lack of a better term, in it. The line got weaker. It looks like, basically, like it disappeared for a second and then kind of came back, but it's weaker than it had been.
All right. Then we're gonna try and bite at the mirror.
I guess you could probably try to bite around the side of it, so we'll count that.
Picturing this like a corgi versus a sliding door.
Alright, it hits. Go ahead and roll the damage. You are able to get your teeth around the back of it, and your bottom jaw kind of digs into the mirror. So you hear this awful crack, and the whole thing shatters in front of you. You will take 9 points of damage of just, you know, the chunks of glass in your mouth from biting into this thing. Does it do that? Nope. Alright, so I have to manually do it. Since you have temp HPs. There you go. But the mirror shattered, and where it fell apart, you kind of look over to the side, and you see your mirror form turn her head the same way, like of you looking that direction, and she blips and disappears.
Alright.
Peter's turn. What are you doing?
I'm going to cast the Volteric Sphere.
Vitriolic Sphere?
Make a move here. Vitriolic Sphere.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 20-foot radius, though, right?
For the acid splash, I believe so.
Yeah, so I'm trying to feel it out here.
For it to be effective, I mean, you'd need to move first, probably. But basically, where you have that centered, you couldn't cast it there. There's a wall in front of you. But you
Yeah,
could, you know,
I'm just
like if you
trying to
moved it
feel it
over
out.
here or something, like if you did it like there or something, then maybe.
Alright, then I'm going to pass on that for now. I guess what I'll do then for the time being is I'll cast a magic missile and target the 3 mirrors.
Okay. One of them's already been shattered. There's other mirrors, but as far as there's 2 left that you guys, your clones came from.
Alright, I'll hit the 2 mirrors that the clones came from, and
Okay.
then the extra magic missiles just hit Peter in the face, because he deserves it.
Alright, so 1 at each of the mirrors?
Actually, I'll just target all of the magic missiles except for 1 to Peter's mirror, and whatever's left to Peter's mirror.
Okay. Are you just casting at first level?
Gonna cast at 3rd, actually.
Alright, so it is... it starts at 3, so if you go up, it'll be 5 total darts. So where are you throwing them? These automatically hit, so just tell me where you're throwing them.
Let's do, you know what? You said 4, just 2 and 2.
You're getting 5 total, if you're casting at 3rd level.
3 on Peter's, and 2 on Ketis' mirror.
Okay. Go ahead and roll the 3 first, so just click the damage 3 times. Okay, so the 3 just kind of right in front of you just go bam, 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 and the 3rd one, as it hits, it just shatters. It just sends out this wave of like spider cracking through the mirror, and the whole thing collapses and falls down. And as it does, the mirror Peter that's in front of you begins to, like, he kind of looks over in shock over at the mirror, and he starts to kind of disappear and then fade back in, and then disappear, fade back in, and then disappear, and he doesn't come back that time. Your mirror's broken. Go ahead and roll the other 2. You're hitting Ketis' mirror with the last one, right? With the last 2?
Yeah, last 2.
Okay. They both impact, and there's a crack running down the middle, like a rock hitting your windshield. There's a crack running down the center of the mirror, but Mirror Ketis doesn't seem to have noticed it. He doesn't react. There's still the kind of movement between them. He just seems focused on facing Ketis. that it your turn?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Regular Ketis' turn. What are you doing?
Okay. I will finish off my mirror then. And just hit it with my sword.
All right. When you move around, let me make the roll for him here. I guess you wouldn't be leaving range anyways, but...
I'm mobile, he can get me anyway.
Oh, that's true. He didn't make his save anyway, so he actually steps forward just like you are and swings at open air for no reason. Go ahead and roll your roll the damage. You hit the mirror fine. And when the blade makes contact with it, the whole thing shatters in front of you, just collapses down to a pile of shards of glass on the floor. And the mirrored version of you, you kind of look over your shoulder at it, and it turns and is looking over its shoulder at you, and there's a look of recognition, of fear, and he's kind of fading out, and he's gone.
Cool.
You guys are standing back in this room with 3 piles of broken glass, and you hear coming through the walls, guys, what was all that? I think I'm stuck in here.
Shit. Alright, I'll listen for where she is and then see if I can break the wall down and get her out. Tell her to move to the side for us.
She says, okay, I mean, I'll try. I mean, like, I'm here, and she's like, there's nothing for me to, like, knock on. I don't really know what to do.
Alright, well then just duck down and cover yourself. Just try to get low.
Alright.
I'll see if I can break through.
Specifically, what are you doing?
Just see if I can, let's see. Just see if I'll use the hilt of my sword and smash the wall, see if it's weak enough for me to break some wood out and start pulling it apart with my hands.
I mean, you do. It's not something to roll for. It's a wall, so I mean, you can't really miss. But you do sink where you hit it with the hilt, it sinks straight into the wall. Like, the wall is so rotted and old that it breaks right through the thin plates. This isn't drywall. This is long before drywall, so just thin boards basically, but it breaks right through, and you're just looking at the inside of a broken wall behind the mirror, where the mirror had been.
Can I fit my head in there and look around, see if I can see it?
Make a perception check. You hear her shout. She says, I mean, did it work? I don't see anything.
I got a hole in the wall. Can you not see any light?
There's a pause for a second. She says, I don't see anything. Make a perception check. Nice. Looking back and forth, you're literally just looking at the inside of a wall. As strange as this place is, the wall looks mundane. It would look the same as as you would expect any random wall to look. Navarre, are you going to stay in Polar Bear form?
For now.
Okay. I'm just going to leave your token down here on the bottom left so we can get it back when we need to. You do have like blood pouring out of your polar bear mouth from biting up ears.
I can use healing word though, right?
You can use. You have the moon druids specifically get wild invigoration, I think is what it was. But you can basically use a spell slot to heal yourself anytime you want. 1d8 for each cast of it.
Okay.
Expend 1 spell slot to 1d8. So go ahead and use as many as you want. You only have. You took 9 damage total.
We'll just do 1.
Okay. So wild invigoration, hit the heal on it, and I'll put it back in temporary HP for you. You are up to 42. You had 47 as your max. You're gonna do just 1 cast? Leave it like that?
Yeah, we'll just leave it there for now.
Alright. So you've stopped the bleeding and healed the kind of initial wound. Still got the taste of blood in your mouth. What are you guys doing?
I'm trying to go through my spells to see if I can, if I have anything that can see through another plane. The only other thing I can think of, I'll need a length of rope, a closet, a midget, and a TV set to static.
Is that a phantasm trip? At first, when you said that, I was thinking Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe. When you said closet, and I'm like, oh wait, it's not. Is it Phantasm? Is that what that movie was called?
Poltergeist.
Poltergeist. That's it. Yeah.
And you're one of those evil
weird
clown
lady.
dolls. Yeah.
What clown? I don't remember a weird clown in that.
The kid has it found all
man.
that starts moving when the room starts
Oh,
swirling.
really? I don't even remember.
I'll start staring.
Wasn't Coach in that? Was
Yeah,
that the dad?
Greg T. Nelson. One of the great actors of our time.
Contact other plane level 5. I think we can do. She can hear us, right? If we speak, can I?
Yeah,
speak?
you guys are able to talk. She can hear you, and you can hear her. It sounds watery. It sounds like she's talking to you through water somehow. It's been. Let's see. It was probably right before the fight. Wisdom saves, and you hear.
What can change the nature of a man?
It's been. Comedy Bang Bang fucking repeats that phrase so often that it's still stuck in my head every time I hear it. It's the same as like anytime I hear walking down the street. I have to do walking down the street just the other day. All of you made your saves, which is getting lucky because you guys are getting to the point where that's going to get serious. If you don't figure your shit out fast enough. Yorth, where she is, would not need to make the save. So, alright. Good luck, we are. What are you guys doing?
How many other mirrors are left in the room?
There's 2 more. I'm going to move these because you guys know where those are and that they're broken. There was one here, and there's one... shit. Alright, here. That's the other one. That's it. Those are the last 2.
Should we go bash him up?
We might have to go through too.
Alright. Well, I'm going to...
well, you're standing in front of a mirror. You're standing in front of a mirror, Ketis, where you moved in front of it. You see... You actually don't... Never mind. You don't see anything. It's empty. Like, there's nothing there. It looks like you're looking through a window. It doesn't look like you're looking through a mirror.
I'll tell the team I can't see much. It looks like I'm looking through a window, not a mirror.
Okay, well, Peter, where you just got an angle of both of those, you do see something in both of those, and what you see is exactly the same... let me find it here. Hang on. You see... God damn it. One sec. This guy. That same thing that you saw walking around earlier, you know, that was in the room with you that you could see, and Navarre could only see the shape of, which, by the way, your Detect Magic's fallen long ago, so you're not seeing anything either. And Ketis, no, you don't see anything at all. But Peter, you see that in both mirrors, and it's mimicking you. It's doing your same motions and everything in both mirrors.
Alright, I'm gonna let the team know that I see it and it's mimicking.
Okay.
Crap, I just closed the map. What was the name of the map?
Azul House 3. I think I'm going to take that out. Like, that add-on is super helpful, but it causes problems with some other things. So I may, if you hold down Control and then click, you can have, you know, multiple images like that. But like even for the recording screen, I end up having to fix it. So anyway, what are you guys doing?
You guys want to try and go in?
Yeah, I was gonna...
This might be a door in and out.
Okay.
Well, either that, and I'm not leaving my sister in there, so...
She says, thanks. It's kind of lonely in here.
I'm gonna guinea pig Toki. I'm gonna have Toki slowly press up against the mirror to see if he can get through.
Okay. I'm not really sure what to have you roll for that. You see his paw come up and touch against the mirror, and there looks to be a physical barrier there. He's touching against it, but it looks like he's touching a window, like a glass pane of window. You do see he does not have a reflection.
Not even magic toe beans can get through this mirror.
I didn't know what you meant at first. Toe beans. You're talking about like a cat's paws, like the little pads of their feet.
Yeah, they're
that what you
magical. It's a gnome
Yeah.
thing. Yep.
Okay. Took me a minute to figure out what you were talking about.
The other option, of course, is smash the mirrors, but if we do that, we may not be able to get the sister.
Alright, what happens when I walk up to it? And,
Yorth
like,
calls
put
out.
my paw on it.
Yorth calls out. I'm kind of important, Peter. Like, maybe don't. You're trying
Just
to
a
walk up
thought.
to it as a bear.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't see anything in the mirror at all. It looks like a window again. But Peter, when you look over, you see one of those weird shapes. Kind of naked humanoid. Featureless. Like the face only has very very limited muted features, like it's made out of clay almost. But you see one of those creatures that is on all fours, pretending to be a bear. That's looking at Nivara face to face.
All right, I'm gonna let Navarra know that she's got a smoke beast ghost thing trying to mimic it.
Can I touch the mirror?
You reach one big dumb bear paw up and touch it, and it feels like a physical barrier, there's contact. Yes. Make a wisdom save again. Just Nivara. Okay, you're able to resist this urge, but you do have the urge to try to walk through this mirror. Like something's pulling you to the other side. You hear yours shout, guys, I mean, how's it going out there? I'm starting to get worried.
Well, I can't.
I'll walk
actually,
up
not
to the
testing
mirror.
that. I don't see the guys yet.
What was that, G?
Yeah, I don't even see the. I was gonna say I don't even see the guys inside the mirror, so I wouldn't know that they're there. So I can't say that. So
You guys
that
do
would be
understand
methodology.
you do understand why Peter is seeing them, though, right?
Just yeah, true type, right?
Okay, exactly. Yeah, that's why. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that still, because that was 2 sessions ago, or 2 weeks ago rather. So.
Sorry, go ahead, Soccer.
I guess I'll just walk up to the mirror and physically touch it with my hand. No magic, no nothing.
Okay. Yeah. There's glass there. It feels like there's something there.
So both magic and physical realm touches it. It's actual glass then.
You guys have been in here. You've been in here long enough. Well, this is taking you. I'd say you've probably been doing this for a couple of minutes, so it's probably about time. Go ahead and make wisdom saves again. Ignore that. I'm just doing a line break. Okay. You hear.
So then, there are other worlds than these?
And Peter, you take. That's only 8. You got good luck, or you got good rolls. You take 8 damage, but it definitely feels like there's some there. You feel like you have a mental worm in your brain now. Make a, I think it's memory. Make a memory skill check on Peter. Something in the kind of, it's ringing very distant bells, but something about that sounds like, oh shit, like the one that sounds awfully bad, like that the feel of that that psychic parasite essentially in your mind is ringing distant bells, like you might have an inkling of what that is, but you just don't have time to think about it right now to piece it together. What are you guys doing?
I go I try to touch where the broken mirror was. I mean, carefully so I don't cut my hand, but regular broken mirror, the one that
The one that you shattered?
in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are you trying to do?
just trying to gently, carefully touch it so I don't cut myself, but see if it's a regular mirror. Broken mirror.
There's a frame, and then all the glass is in pieces on the floor. It shattered all to bits and pieces. So there is no mirror. It's just a frame, and then the wall behind it.
If I try to touch the wall through the frame, does it? Anything happens in normal?
So I need to clarify something. When you smashed the wall, you weren't hitting in the mirror, right? You were standing over here, so I assume that you were not hitting in the mirror. You smashed a hole in the wall that was just a hole in the wall. It wasn't behind the frame of the mirror. But where you go up to the mirror and try to put your hand through it, your hand passes through the wall.
Okay. I'm going to take my hand back out, and I'm going to tell the team.
You don't have a hand anymore.
Looks like. Oh. All right then.
Just kidding.
Is that the other one, or is it the same one I already lost?
That's what I only did that specifically to screw with you because you're like you've lost so many body parts in balance so far. So no, your hand.
I need to quit touching shit. So. Use mage hand more often. I'm going to tell the team what I've noticed.
Okay.
Tell them maybe try the other mirrors or something. I don't know, or try mine. Something like that.
I say let's send Toki through the wall, that magic wall, and see if we can see anything.
Okay. He looks at you, and there is just vitriol. He looks very much like, why don't you do it, asshole? Like, why do I always have to do this shit? Like, if he could flip you off, he would. Those little magic beans don't fold up in that kind of an angle. But he obeys orders, and he turns and looks at you with just anger, and then turns back and tries to walk through the wall, and he slipped his way on through. The tail's gone. He's all the way through the wall.
I'm able to see through his eyes right now.
You're not. You try to do it. You try to kind of reach out to him, and he's not there, as far as you can tell.
All right, folks, Toki's dead to us.
Damn it.
I mean, you kept him alive for a good solid, like 45 minutes to an hour or so of you guys exploring this place. The singing is close, and it is right around the corner. The little girl singing. In fact, actually, while you guys are... Okay, I mean, you pretty much would need to move now, or the singing is going to be in the room. So what are you guys doing? It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, you don't know, just that singing is still coming.
I'm going to go through my broken.
Okay. All right. So you step on through the wall. You are through that. We'll get to what that means in a second, depending on what everybody else is doing. So, what are Nivara and Peter doing?
Can I fit through as a polar bear?
The frame is too wide, but I would say that you come up to it. Are you trying to just kind of force your way through?
Yeah.
Okay. So you come up to the wall and shove your snout through, and you make it through. Your shoulders are too wide, but you kind of push against them, and you hear a cracking sound. Well, actually, you don't hear a cracking sound. You feel resistance, and then a lack of resistance against your shoulders on one side, your right shoulder. And then you kind of have to sidle your way through, but you make it through as well, and you are now through. So, Peter, you are alone in this room. And then something comes around. Then something comes around the corner down that hallway. Right over, I'm going to use this one just to represent it. You looking over, you see a little girl that's come around the corner, is now looking at you. Just had been skipping down the hallway and singing this song very cheerily. She stops her song, kind of standing in the doorway there, and she it looks like just a cute little girl. Smears of dirt on her face, maybe 7 years old or so. Dress was probably like a colorful, pretty thing at one point, but it's all smeared and covered in dirt and everything. Just looks very unkempt. There's twigs and dirt in her hair. She just looks at you, very unsettling eyes, and she's holding a faded little brown sack. She says, "My marbles, but I do not want you to see them." You need to make a wisdom save as well.
Just because she loses her marbles.
Nice. Something that that worm that's in your brain is trying to force you to go over there and convince her to let you see what's in that sack, but you're able to kind of shrug that off. You're able to just tell it no. She's starting to walk closer to you.
I'll let her know that I don't need to see her marbles, but thank you.
She says, good, because I don't want to show you. But she's coming closer and like holding the sack out towards you.
I'm gonna start backing towards that mirror.
All right. She says, as you're kind of, backing your way towards that, and she's trying to, kind of slowly approach you, she says, now give me your marble. Her face is very changed to the point where her teeth all of a sudden, like her mouth is open and she's smiling, but the teeth have turned into these sharp little daggers in her mouth as she's kind of approaching you and holding the sack out wide-eyed, trying to get you to look into it. Or you've backed enough through it. I would say that you can turn and make your way through the mirror. Or are you looking?
I will go ahead and back into the mirror and change my pantaloon.
I mean, you've got robes on. It's easy enough to hide, right? All right, so you've backed your way through the mirror. All of you are now through the wall. You are, as soon as you've stepped through it, all three of you guys saw this first, of course, Ketis and Polar Bear Naivara are floating in open space. No floor beneath you, no building. You turn and look back, there's no walls there. Off in the distance and very far down below you is Yorth. She's down probably 200 feet below you. She looks like you both look like you're standing on ground, but if you look down and off to one side, basically she's there and looking up at you guys. She said, how did you guys get up there?
I don't know, we just came through. Come here.
What are you guys doing? Her mouth she kind of mouth open a little bit, like puzzled, still just kind of staring up at you guys. She says, I guess I'm gonna try coming up there. And you see her stand up. She was kind of sitting down, like not sitting down, but like kneel down a little bit. And she kind of jumps, and you notice that she looks like she's floating, like she's swimming almost in open air. She's kind of slowly trying to make her way to you guys.
Okay. Then I guess head over that way and help her out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you kind of similarly try to kind of swim down through open space to make your way towards her. You do, it takes you a minute or so, but not a minute full, but probably 30 seconds or something. You make your way towards the middle. You notice Toki is not here, by the way, Peter. You don't see him anyways. He doesn't appear to be able. All right. Well, don't worry about it. Basically, he's not here, as far as you can see. As far as you know, he's just back in his normal little pocket dimension, but he's not visible to you anyway. But you do make your way down towards Yorth, and now the four of you are kind of floating in this swirling gray mist, the same kind of openness that the ship was flying through for the past couple of weeks. Nothing around you at all.
Okay.
Pick a direction and start swimming.
Yeah.
Make wisdom checks again, all of you. That's good for Peter. Ooh.
Check or save?
Oh, she rolled a check. Yeah, it's got to be a save. You got lucky there, Becky. I should take that roll as it is. Actually, we're going to use your roll, and we'll use your proper modifier. Your modifier might be enough, but I doubt it, just because that is still your roll. So, what is your modifier for your save? Shit, it's plus 10? No, that can't be right.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's fucking 10? Come on. This is bullshit. I don't ever get to screw with you guys. It's not fair. All right. Well, you all three succeed then. But you hear the kind of booming echo, and this time it seems so much louder because it seems like maybe the walls were dulling the sound a little bit, but it says,
You will all be alone in the end.
what are you guys doing?
We keep moving in one direction, still don't see anything after a while.
No, you're swimming through open space and don't see anything at all. And in fact, I mean, for the sake of time, You swim for an hour in a random direction and see nothing. Nothing changes. In fact, it's the same as when you guys were on the ship and flying through and saw nothing forever.
That ring in my pocket, is it doing anything, or is it still just a stupid
The ring
ring?
is not in your pocket anymore. It has disappeared.
Are we able to use a walkie-talkies to communicate to anyone on the ship?
You kind of chirp out with them and try, and it sounds like the message went out. Like it felt like it was working. Everything seemed normal, but there's no response. Yora's kind of floating along beside you guys. She guys says, I'm starting to get worried, guys. I don't know how we can get out of here. I don't really know what we can do. Maybe we should have stayed in the house. I mean, I didn't really have a choice. I kind of got pulled through, but I mean, if you guys could have succeeded and got out, maybe it would have taken me back to the ship or something. I don't know. Just starting to
Can
look
we
pretty
yell out
despondent.
to the voice? Ask
You
the
tell me?
voice, who are you? Yeah, ask the voice, just cry out, who are you? Where are we?
You hear, make wisdom saves, all three of you. And you hear laughing.
Oh,
Ooh,
no.
finally! Fucking modifier of 10s and 9s and shit, that's not fair. I suppose I did just raise the DCs. Becky, you take 10 psychic damage. I'm still applying them to your regular shape because I think the psychic damage wouldn't really affect the, you know, it's not going to be hitting your temporary HP. It's not a ton anyways, but you basically have taken a little more and you feel for sure that there's a worm in your ear that is crawling into your brain. Like it feels like a physical sensation. You know it's not. Intellectually you know it's not, but that's what it feels like. But you hear a booming laughter that is chuckling through all of this, and it says,
Oh, friends, you should have called ahead.
in case you couldn't understand it, it's that. You guys can understand it okay when I'm using that, right?
Somewhat.
What are you doing?
Just thinking at this point. Am I able to cast any spells here? I'm just gonna try casting a spell, maybe just mage hands, just to see if magic still.
Sure. In fact, when you do, mage hand would work. You finish the incantation for it, and the hand feels like more vigorous. It feels stronger. Like the spell was more powerful than it would be normally.
Am I able to teleport us back to the ship from this dimension here?
You can give it a shot.
What do you think, guys?
Sure.
We're gonna try.
It's only one shot here.
Okay.
Let me take a quick look at my port really fast here, just in
Go ahead
case.
and mark up your stealth slot and everything too.
I think that's level 7.
7, yeah.
Yep.
What did you use it with 8th level?
Something at the very beginning. I forgot what it was. Let me take a
Oh,
look.
when you guys were still outside? Yeah, it was Sunburst, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was Sunburst to make it bright or something.
Yeah. So you're casting teleport?
I'll cast teleport on the 3 of us. Well,
Okay.
4 of us, I guess. 4 of them.
Yeah, for yours. Alright. You You finish the, you try to draw this kind of circle, your normal kind of runic circle on the floor, but it doesn't exactly appear, but you kind of know it's there, I guess. Basically, you don't see anything, but you know it's there. And when the kind of ritual of it finishes, the light snaps out anyways, even though there isn't any physical drawing of it, and it snaps up around you. And where you normally would be traveling through the kind of blue space between your destination and your initial location, it just happens instantly, and you're not you reappear, but it's not on the ship. You are standing in front of a man that looks nondescript, looks very kind of unassuming. He's wearing black garb with a small white collar. He looks familiar to Ketis specifically, and he says, "Well, I suppose it's nice to finally meet the rest of you. I guess it would be rude to not include everyone else." So, and you see him snap his fingers, and there's this black flash of light around all of you. That's black light, but not in the sense of the technological version, like not the purplish shit, but actual black light you guys have never seen before. You all kind of shake your head trying to clear your vision, and you kind of look around it, and the rest of you are all the rest of your crew are all there. Alice, Jack, Drew, Elspeth rather, are all standing around you. Of course, Yorth is with you. And then the man says, "Ketis, don't be rude now. Introduce me to your friends."
I'll go around the circle, introduce everybody, and then I'll finally be polite and ask him his name. I never caught it officially. Not at this point.
Okay. All right. You ask. Well, you kind of introduce everyone. They all. Drew. Alice looks scared. Drew and Elspeth both are, and Jack. The three of them really look confused and a little, kind of concerned, like what's really going on. Like they were on the ship and all of a sudden they're just here and they don't know where this is. But of course, the place itself has been confusing enough, so that's probably not too much of a surprise. He says, "Well, I mean, I suppose it's only fair that I tell you mine. I'm usually called Walter." But I'm known by many names.
Don't tell everybody that he's who I was talking to when we were parlaying.
Yeah, you do. You never knew him as Odim. You, of course, Ben knows it's the same person. He says, but I mean, if you prefer, Martin is fine. I've been called Harland. Any number of names. Use whichever you prefer. It won't make any difference. And he looks at Peter. He says, "Peter, was it?"
Yes.
You asked where you were. Do you have an inkling? Do you have any idea where you are?
At this point, not a clue.
He turns away from you guys and he's kind of looking out. Oh, the place you've been arrived into looks the same decrepit and broken down mansion, except one wall of it is all windows. Looking out into the same kind of gray swirling space. This place will of course become very familiar to Ketis much later, but not at this point. In fact, Peter and Ivara arrive here at some point later on too, but again, that's much in the future. You guys as players have seen this room before, but the characters have not. But this room, he kind of turns and looks out towards this kind of gray swirling mist, and he holds his arms out as if he's showing something grandiose, as if this is something, a sight to behold. And he says, "This, my friends, is Melectorath." And kind of a sing-songy voice, he says, "In the land of Melectorath, where shadows lie." And he kind of chuckles to himself. He kind of turns back facing you guys. He says, "We, my friends, reside in the mind of Shug Niadramoth." Sorry, I stumbled over that. The name you've heard before. That. He says, "This is the swirling dream of a sleeping god." He turns kind of grinning at you guys. He says, "Am I lying, do you wonder?"
We always wonder that.
He smiles at you. He says, "I'm disappointed, Ketis. I thought we had some level of trust."
Well, I'm sure we do by now. We met enough times.
You cut out there, G. What was that?
Us 10. Well, I'm sure we do. We've met enough times. But
It's been, at this point, I think it's been 30-ish years, maybe 35, something like that, since your last parlay, so it's obviously been quite some time, but where your guys' lives are artificially elongated by this whole process. It's kind of giving you some time to reflect on those conversations. He kind of nods a little bit. He says, "That's fair." He says, "I suppose it makes no difference anyway, though. The true question is, do you know why you are?"
No.
Any of the rest of you?
We're trying to figure out our purpose.
That's awfully astute there, Peter. And you see Elspeth is kind of, her mouth is tight and she's not, she obviously has something to say, but she hasn't replied. Like, you got to it before she was going to, so she hasn't said anything. So he kind of chuckles a bit. He says, "Well, sit back, kiddos. This may take a while, and you all 8 of you are pushed back into leaning gurneys. Do you know what a gurney is?"
Mm-hmm.
So like a medical gurney, like a medical table that emergency services might use, an ambulance, that kind of thing. But it's up at a pardon me, it's up at like a 45-degree-ish angle. And you're kind of pushed back into them where you're kind of laying against these things, almost like laying down, but you're at 45 degrees. You're not strapped to them like you would be in the future, of course, but for now, you're just kind of leaning against these. He says, "Well, you guys don't understand this just yet, and really from your perspective, I don't see how you could, but consciousness itself is a tragic misstep in evolution. Every intelligent species, we become too self-aware. Nature created an aspect of nature separate from itself, and we are the creatures that should not exist by natural law." He says, "We are the things that labor under the illusion of having a self, a secretion of sensory experiences and feelings, programmed with total assurance that we are each somebody, when in fact everyone is nobody. The only honorable thing for a species to do is to deny its programming, stop reproducing, just walk hand in hand into extinction, one last midnight brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal." And that's your answer.
Well, not all of us think that we're that important, but we are just like every other. We can't get to live our lives just, searching for food and mates and happiness.
He shakes his head. He says, I'm disappointed, Ketis. I really thought in our conversations that you were, if not coming around to our way of seeing things, and again, he kind of holds his hands out widely as if he's showing you something important and grandiose, and you're just seeing this very destroyed and, kind of derelict old building. He says, I thought we had an understanding, at least on some level. I mean, I told you where I came from, and that was very personal, for me. That wasn't something easy to share. And he tells you, but it's what we did, my people. We got tired of the fallacy of expecting a light at the end of the tunnel. That's what that priest that I told you about, that's what a priest sells. See, the priest, he encourages your capacity for illusion. He tells you that it's a virtue, that there's power to be had in faith. Such a desperate sense of entitlement, though, isn't it? Surely this is all for me. This is important. Me, I'm so fucking important, right?
Well, true, but your priest is possibly on a revenge mission, and you're probably just a pawn. Do you know what the Gith are? You're probably just being used to try to destroy them.
He chuckles. He says, "I don't have any way to make this make sense for a mind that can only see in 3 dimensions. I understand that you can't understand. As much as I'd like to share this, it's a perspective that not only can I not give you, you don't want me to give you." He says, I have seen the finale of 1 trillion lives. Young, old, each one so sure of their realness, sure that their sensory experience constituted some unique individual, some purpose, some meaning, just so certain that they were more than a biological puppet. But I'll tell you the truth wins out. Everybody sees once those strings are cut off. Those bodies, so certain that they were more than the sum of their urges, all of this useless spinning. Ketis, in all of our talks years ago, this is what I meant when we talked about eternity and death and futility. If you look in those trillions of faces, you look in their eyes, you get a picture that they welcomed it at the end. Not at first, but right there in that last instant, an unmistakable release. You see, they were afraid. And now that they saw for the very first time how easy it was to just let go. In that last nanosecond, they saw what they were. Just an illusion.
Well, can't really say I disagree with that. But again, after you're done with all this, what are you going to do? When it's all gone, what are you going to do? Just go back to sleep?
I'm afraid I don't have much of an answer to that. I would like to deny my programming. I'm afraid I lack the capability for suicide, so... He says, but it's a warming thought. One that you're, at least on some level, able to understand your futility, your unimportance, your vast nothingness. He says it's a helpful thing to realize all of your life, all your love, all your hate, all your memory, all your pain, it's all the same thing. It's all the same dream. A dream that you had inside a locked room, a dream about being a person. And it all means nothing. He kind of pauses again. He looks amongst the group. Anybody else saying anything?
Am I still in bear form?
Yes. You know what? Actually, I would say no. When you were teleported here, you were back to your normal form and leaned against the wall. The gurney.
Okay.
He says, you know what happens next?
I'm sure you're going to tell us.
He says, you all belong to Carcosa now. And from his feet around him, on the floor around him, these tendrils spit out from the floor and snap into each of you, slamming into each of you square in the chest. Your minds are just twisted and bent in agony. Peter, you're going to have disadvantage. Navarro, you're going to have disadvantage. Roll wisdom saves. And Kitas, you're rolling as well, just no disadvantage. Jeez, even with disadvantage. Damn it, Becky.
Yes.
Oh wait, I gotta roll the disadvantage, you said?
Yeah, sorry, Peter. So roll it one more time.
Son of a...
Okay,
Damn it.
no, those were both high enough. You only had to beat 15, so it looks like everybody... Drew is not able to, like, Drew, okay, so you looked left and right and everybody is just twisted and bent over in agony, all neurons firing in your brain at once. Peter and Navarre, the thing in your brain is like to bursting. It is like the worst possible migraine, and it's hard for you to even react at all. But Elizabeth shouts out, her face is gnarled in this just rigid death grip. She says, Peter, do something, get us out of here.
Oh crap, that was my last teleport.
You're all like in extreme agony, needing to react fast in some way.
How many of us are there?
8 of you. The whole
If
crew.
I do a teleport at level 9, I could maybe get us out.
I've got a level 7 plane shift.
Somebody needs to do something. You guys better hurry, because like, I'm going to start stacking on damage real fast.
Alright, I'm just gonna chuck level 9 teleport. Jump into the high level.
Okay. You barely have time to finish the ritual, and everything goes to static.